Hello. Happy Tuesday. Very excited to be going live. This is always one of my favorite things for the week. Honestly, it's just getting on and talking with all of you. Today, we are going to be talking about how to get clear in your business. Specifically, we're going to be talking about what I'm calling clarity. I shared a really cool thing that I came up with last week called the Success Blueprint. And what it is basically this recipe for you to get from stuff just being in your head, ideas you have for the business you want to start and different things, and it becoming a reality. But with that, it comes some different steps and stuff. Success is not anything that happens very quickly for a lot of us in some instances, depending on what it is. And especially for business, I know my personal journey, success has been a very slow and steady process. And in different seasons, it looks different. Sometimes for me, success looks like, oh, I sold out of this product or I hit my income goal. Sometimes success looks like, wow, I had an opportunity to go to my daughter's school and hang out with her for her field trip, right? So it's going to look different. And so we're going to talk about this, but I'm waiting for a few people to get on. This is going to be a full training. I don't usually do lives like this. Usually they're a lot more laid back, but y'all, I done pulled out the stops. I got a little presentation today. I have a workbook that I created for this training too. So if you happen to be watching and you want that workbook, make sure that you click on the link down below in the description and you'll be able to get it. It's the Clarity Workbook. And then this training, you'll always have access to this replay as well. So hello, everyone that is getting on. Let me know, where are you watching from? What's up? I see we got a couple people on Instagram as well. Those of you that are on Instagram, if you want to get the full presentation and everything, definitely head over to YouTube. It's linked in the bio, and then that way you can see the slides and stuff that I'll be showing. I was gonna try to do it on both, but just to save myself, we're gonna just do it on the one. So come join me over there and we'll be getting started here in a moment. I'm just gonna post this reminder so I don't have to keep saying it. Okay, cool. All right, so where we got people watching from. Hey Kanitha, what's up? This is my first time catching a live. I'm so glad. I miss you. We need to connect soon. Hey Narissa. Hey Shalina. A girl in a pearl. Glad you're here. Hey Ash. Welcome, ladies. I hope you're having a good week. Honestly, I know I've been having a good week. It's been a hectic one, but it's been good. Hey Sandra from Memphis. What's up? All right, cool. So we got some people getting on. We'll definitely get started here in a moment. Hi, excited to catch this live. Watching from Reno. Welcome, Massachusetts. Hey, Alicia. Hey, Derica. I always love when I see the familiar faces because y'all, some of you guys literally, you comment on all my videos. You show up to all of the lives, or majority of them, because I know we got life, right? But I just appreciate the support. It means a lot to me. Hey, Rodnitska. So excited for this live. I got the tea and oh, good. Yes. All right, wonderful. So yeah, how many of you have already gotten the access to the workbook? Some of you got a little bit of an early access because I did send out the code the workbook this morning to you all. But if you haven't gotten the workbook, link is down in the description. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into this because I don't want to take up too much of your afternoon. Hey, Takia. Okay, so first things first, let me go ahead and share this screen. We got slides today, y'all. I'm feeling so good. If you can see it, hit me with a thumbs up or a heart or something just so I know, and then we will get into it. And we're going to be talking all about clarity as I shared. Okay, there we go. We're going to be talking all about clarity as I shared with you all. And this is basically just an intentional training for what I feel like if I had to pinpoint the women that I connect with the most, it's definitely going to be first my busy ladies that work either at home or they go outside of the house to work, but they have this desire to want to start a business either on the side, eventually moving it into a full-time thing that you do. And then I also have some amazing ladies that are at home as well, whether it's staying at home with kids or you're just at home. You also are busy. You have a lot of ambitions and things you want to accomplish, one of those being a business. And so there's kind of these two sides of it. And I feel like we all are amazing no matter what it is that we do, whether we're moms or not, whether we work or not. We all have a vision that has been placed on us that we want to accomplish something. And sometimes it can feel a little overwhelming when we don't have all of the pieces and everything to put together. And so that's what this training is about. It's to help you get out of your own way as always, and to just kind of figure out like, okay, I want to start this business. What are some areas I should even be thinking about when it comes to starting this business, and what to focus on in the different areas. So we're going to get started with that. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments and I will be sure to answer the questions at the end. I'm going to try to do this more of like a training style thing. So I'll answer questions at the end. And if I don't respond to comments, I definitely see them, but I want to make sure I get through this and I don't miss anything. Okay. So let me see. We got 50 million windows open on here. So let's see. Okay. So first of all, if you have never ever interacted with me before, my name is Tatiana. I am a CEO of the Inspire Blueprint. I'm still getting used to saying that. I used to run a business called The Stationary Muse for about 6 years, and I closed it last summer. So sometimes I might hesitate. I'm like, wait, the Inspire Blueprint. But I am a woman of God first and foremost. You're going to basically just know, like, anytime you come on this channel, I'm always praying over what I do. Anything that I do is definitely like God first. That is for sure. So I wanted to share that. I also am a mom, I'm a wife, and I am a YouTuber. So definitely if you're here on my YouTube channel, I love it here. We just recently hit 1 million views over on this channel, which is, thank God, so cool. Such a huge milestone. I'm also a speaker. I have a podcast that I launched recently called The Inspire Blueprint. And I really just love to encourage women to get out of their own way, to go for what it is that they want in their life. Specifically, I really have a focus on entrepreneurship because I feel like there's nothing like creating your own way when it comes to doing something different. I remember I told this story, I think on one of my podcast episodes, when I was an administrative assistant at a university when we used to live in North Carolina. And the new president was like going around and he was interviewing everyone. And I had a conversation with him about the pay, because the pay was not paying right. Okay. Like I needed some more money. And so we had a conversation and I was just like, I feel like I'm not getting paid enough. Like, what's going on? Like, this is the average in other places. And so he basically told me, he was like, I understand, what you're saying. I think definitely that is something that could happen. But because it's not really like a realistic thing I could do right now, he was like, I really encourage you to look into other ways to make money, like come up with some other streams of income. And he was telling me all about all of the different ways that he makes money. And so I was kind of offended, y'all. I'm not going to lie. Like when he told me, I'm like, what, like who is he to say? Like he said he was coming around and he wanted us to tell us what improvements we needed. And so I basically went in one ear and out the other. And it wasn't until just really a few years ago, I kind of had forgot that happened. And I was sitting down. I had left my full-time job for the third time, because I've left my job 3 times. And I was like, he was right. He was so right. Like, I am literally so passionate about people creating options for themselves and freedom so that you don't just have to rely on that one income source. Even if your business is not like 6 figures, my business is not 6 figures by any means. That's not always everyone's story. But just to have options and create more freedom for your days and your life, that is what the goal is here. So I wanted to just share, like, that is my heart. That is what I'm here to do. And so in any way that I can help you do that, and for it to be something that you actually love and you enjoy, to me is just a bonus. So other things about me, I also do have a background in marketing and business as well from college. So I have a degree in that. I'm a stationery expert as well. I've been doing stationery for about 7-8 years now. I'm a serialpreneur. I've had a photography business. I'm a business coach currently. That's what I do. I also did a web design and graphic design business, products. So I've had a little bit of my hand in everything. And lastly, I have been coaching women for the last couple of years now, and it's definitely been hundreds of women, whether through my one-on-one coaching, my different courses, programs, and things like that. So that's a little bit about me. Just wanted to give a round of that because I feel like I never really do talk about myself too much. So I wanted to just share that. And I know there may be some new faces on here because I did like promote this training a little bit more than normal. So let's go ahead and get into this. So the first thing is, this is the success blueprint. So as I mentioned a little bit earlier in this video, we have so many things that we want to do. And I think for all of us, no matter what it is in life, we want to be successful. Like, I think that's just above all, that is one of the goals that we have. And so with entrepreneurship, it is the same thing. So I created this success blueprint. It is a 6-part process. There's 6 C's because, I really like alliteration and it just had to work out that way. To what I feel just from my last 8, 9, it feels like almost a decade at this point because I've been doing things for pretty much the last 10 years, but we'll say like 8 years of entrepreneur endeavors and things. This is what I feel has really equated to the success that I've had in different seasons. And so the first thing is being committed, right? And having confidence. I have so much content on this channel about being committed and having confidence. I just did a whole series in January about getting out of your own way. So definitely if you missed that, put it in your earbuds, have it on while you're driving or while you're working out. It was some really good topics just around simply getting out of your own way, what it is that you can do to change your mindset a little bit or change the way you think or stop making excuses, because that's a lot of times what it is for us. But I feel like you have to be committed to the call before you can be successful in anything. And you also have to be confident. So once you decide, okay, I'm going to do this thing, if you are a believer, like God is calling me to do this thing, and then you have to be confident in believing in yourself and knowing that you can make it happen. Once you get that mindset piece together, it's like, okay, cool, like I got it, I'm ready to go, now what? And so that is why we're going to be talking today about clarity. I will be over the weeks covering some of these other sections as well, the create, connection, and community. We'll definitely touch on those, but today we are going to focus on clarity. And so to me, I feel like clarity is a major, major key to you being consistent, to you being able to hit your goals that you want to have, and ultimately being successful. So we're going to dive into this. And it's hard for me not to look at the comments because I'm trying to stay on the presentation. So I see so many comments. So I will definitely come back and read them at the end. Definitely drop questions if you have them. I'll be doing a Q&A at the end. Okay, so the first thing that we want to touch on within this is I think it's important to just identify that, yes, these are the steps to success, but in all areas we need to be consistent. And in order for us to be consistent, this is kind of this little trifecta that has to happen. And so we've heard of like SMART goals and different things like that. I just kind of narrowed it down a little bit to keep it simple, but pretty much we want to clearly state what is the goal that we want to achieve. So there needs to be some kind of number tied to it or something that we can measure or something that we can say, like clearly state, like, okay, I'm going to launch my business on this date and these are the different milestones that I have. So that's kind of how it works. It's like, okay, what is the goal? When do I want to have it done by? And then how am I going to track myself? I'm really big on milestones. I don't know if you can see this in the corner right over here. I created this little wall planning system that I launched in the fall last year. And one of the big parts of it is the milestones, because I feel like it's really easy for us to decide we want to do all of these things and it's got all of these steps, but it's nice to be able to celebrate ourselves along the way. So milestones are important. So if I know I'm launching a business, I'm not going to wait to celebrate till when the business launches. I'm going to celebrate when I get my website together. I'm going to celebrate when I get my sample back for my product, when I get my LLC, if that's part of it, when I open my bank account. Like there can be things along the way so that you can feel like, yes, I have this bigger goal I'm trying to reach, but I'm making progress. So I just wanted to touch on that first. So now we're going to get into what are the focus areas. And the focus areas are these 5. Now, I do think there are some businesses that will have more than these or, less than these, just depending. But I feel like because I've ran a lot of different types of businesses, these are the ones that I find to be pretty consistent across the board. And so the first thing is, what are you doing? Your message, what is the problem that you're trying to solve? I think above all, that's important. To me, the message is like, oh, okay, I want to create self-care journals, or, oh, I want to start a training to help women overcome grief. That's something that I've heard from women I've met with. Whatever it may be, what is the message you're trying to achieve, or what is the problem you're trying to solve with your service or with your product? Also, the person, and we'll touch on each of these a little bit more in depth. Who is it that you're trying to serve and do these things for? The product or your service, your offer, whatever it is that you're going to be offering that can be paid. Sometimes the product could even be free, depending on what it is. This technically is a product. What I'm doing right now, this training, the workbook, is what I consider a product. Like in my back end, it's in my products, because it's something that I've created. People can get it, even though it's not tied to anything. I still consider that a product. The platforms, I really look at that more so like what you'll be doing as far as connection on social media, but it might be your website, it might be what you're selling on and different things. And then the last thing is your systems and organization. So these are what I feel like in most business models, these are some of the focus areas. Now, again, there will be definitely more, but when you're a solopreneur and you're trying to be all of the different people, we're going to try to keep it simple and just kind of stick to this for now. So the first one is message and problem. So this is really going to be what is the connection between you having an idea and now getting it out there and sharing whatever that big idea is with other people. I think that it is important before you start any business to be really clear on what your message and problem is, because if you're just out here and you're just saying like, oh, like I want to be a life coach, or oh, I want to be a photographer, or whatever it is, like that's great. But just having like a specific thing that you want to do or that you talk about or that you're known for, I've found for myself personally, while it can feel a little bit boxy in the beginning, it helps for you to be an expert in something versus just kind of out here just doing the thing. So that's definitely really important for sure, is to have your message and problem. And also, again, I just want to say, make sure you have the workbook, because with each of these sections, I also have some questions that I added to them for you to assess within there, as well as some to-dos. So I'm actually going to, I wasn't planning on doing this, but I'm going to touch on it briefly just so that we can have a little bit of some context for it. I'm not going to read the entire thing, but I am just going to touch on one or two things you need to ask yourself and what a to-do would look like in this area. So I think, and also if you have not started your business yet, I would do this stuff in the order that I'm saying it as well. I wanted to share that because I think that's going to set you up. It's in the order of what makes the most sense, and then you'll find yourself revisiting some of these things again. So as the business grows, you might come back and be like, you know what, my message feels a little bit different. I've changed things. Like I said, I closed my stationery business, so of course my message changed. So just keep in mind that as you grow, your message will change as well. So one of the things you might ask yourself within the message is, what are you most passionate about, and how can you relate to your audience? Another question I have on here is, how do you want your audience to feel when they interact with your business in any way? So that could literally be like your website. That could be a reel that you posted, or any type of video content. It could be a blog post you wrote or an email you sent. How do you want them to feel? I think that's important. And this all really is a bigger way of saying branding as well. So just like the look and feel of your business. There's so many layers, but I'm trying to keep it simple. So that's why we're just focusing on message and problem. But an action or two that you could focus on could be for you to create some content that is just going to focus on that one message or problem, and that you can repeat weekly. So a great way to do this is to sit down. If you have a time where you love to just dedicate to planning content for your business, or if you don't have it, I suggest you get that going. But like, what is your one message and problem, and how many different ways can you talk about this? What are some of the different touch points within this problem that you can address? Because a lot of different things, let's say if we're just using goal setting for an example, since this is kind of a little bit of what that is for this training. If you're talking about goal setting, yes, we can talk about goals. We can talk about like different types of goal setting models. We can talk about how to make time for your goals. We can talk about how to prioritize your goals. We can talk about saying no to certain things. Like there's so many things you can talk about that is just under goal setting. So that's what I mean when I say create content around your one message or problem. And then another thing that you could do also is to just record an intro video of you talking about your business or sharing a story about your business and posting it, because people love stories. They love to connect. And it's a great way for you to start kind of exercising the muscle of talking about your message or the problem that it is you want to solve. So this is just a little bit of a brief look into message or problem. Again, make sure you download the workbook so you can access that. So now we'll get into the next part of this. So the next one is the person. We got to have some people, y'all. There's got to be somebody that we actually have coming to want to work with us or want to purchase our products. But before we can get to that point, we have to know who they are. Now, what I have found, especially with working with different women, and just to even with my own personal experience, like I mentioned earlier, I went to school for marketing and stuff. So I knew all about like having a target audience and doing the market research and doing the SWOT analysis and all of those things. But at the end of the day, when you are getting started, sometimes you just don't know. And if you don't have an audience, it can be really hard to answer these questions or create an ideal avatar or anything like that. So what I really feel like with this is, even if you don't necessarily know the specifics of the person, like how much money they make, where do they live, like all of those kind of like marketing type of things that you want to figure out, I think what is important is to ask yourself, when would you like for your business within the next 3 years? If you're looking at it, kind of just envisioning it's been 3 years, who did you help the most during that 3-year period of time? So what did that look like? Who was that person? Was it specifically moms? Was it specifically women in need? Was it just like, what was the person that you helped if you were like kind of looking into the future for 3 years? Also, what was their experience like when they were using your products or your services or working with you? What was that experience like for them? And then what is one thing that they love about your brand that they didn't pay for? And this to me is where like that value word comes in, because I know people throw it around all the time, like, oh, provide value, right? But what are the ways that you can connect with this person that is not connected to them paying for something? So if you can answer these 3 questions, that already will give you a pretty good idea of who your person is. And then on here, I also have too, it just brings a sense of clarity to everything you do, because if you know who you're talking to, it's easy to say like, oh, I don't think that product will really work for them because of XYZ, or, oh, I think this will be a really good reel for me to do because I'm sure they're struggling with this and will want like a quick little information piece on this. So knowing the person is important once you know the message, right, that you are trying to do. And then a to-do that you could do for this, or action to focus on, could be for you to poll your current audience. If you do have any audience right now on whatever platform you're on, you could poll them and ask them different questions and start to learn about them slowly over time. And you can also share a valuable free resource, which is an example of a way that they can get something from you. I know, like for me, for example, I do work with quite a few women, but a lot of women I don't work with because they get so much value just from watching my videos, and that is the goal. And so for me, that would be my answer to that third question, is like, what do people love about the brand that they didn't pay for? So many women were able to get out of their own way and just start the business because I was able to just kind of validate their feelings for them, and not necessarily give them permission, but just kind of remind them like, you can do this, And so that is what you want to think about. Like, I feel like it's so important when you are wanting to build business to do it in a way that is impactful for people, and it's really going to make a huge difference in their lives. It's very important. The next part of this is the product. So once we know our message, once we know who we're serving, then we have to get into what is the product that we're going to be offering. So the product is really a major part of the business income, of course. And so there's always going to be a new idea. There's always going to be something new you want to try. And so this is just me encouraging you to start with one, okay? People always ask like, oh, how many products should I start with? I think one is more than enough. If you already have a lot going on, just having one product, y'all, I promise you that will fill your plate up enough to, figure all those things out. And some of the questions on there I have is just like, what resources do you already know about, or what do you need to find out about? So just kind of identifying like, where's your skill set in the area of doing this thing, whether it's a physical product, it might be building out a course, it might be becoming a coach. There's always going to be some level of needing to learn something. So just identifying what do you already know and what do you need to find out, and how you can find those things out. And then the big question here, will you still enjoy this even if it does not make you money right away? Even if the audience isn't there right away, would you still do it? And I think that that's important, because sometimes we might hop on a bandwagon, and we might just do something simply because other people are doing it, or it seems trendy, or it seems like, ooh, that look like I might make a lot of money. Like, let me do this. But it just may not happen for us that way. So just identifying that you will be happy with it and you'll still want to do it even if you're not making money. I was doing this YouTube channel for about 4 years before this channel ever made 1 cent. Before it got monetized. So that's just an example. Like, you want to be passionate about what you're doing. And so some things you can focus on for this product would be for you to, let's see, for example, if you're doing a physical product, I always recommend to sketch or outline the product, or just try it as much as you can. Just get it out of your head and onto paper, I think is important. With a lot of the women I work with that specifically want to create like planners and journals, I always have them outline it in a spreadsheet and sketch it out, so then that way they can start to see it come to life and see how, even though it feels like it's this big thing to accomplish, it actually is very attainable once you just kind of get it in front of you and you're looking at it. And then another thing could just simply be like, okay, I need to learn a new program or a software. Maybe there's a new technique I need to figure out so that I can start to make it come to life. So that's just a couple of area focuses or actions to focus on in that area. Okay, so the next one is the platform. And y'all, I forgot my computer charger in the other room, so if I like get up for a second and go do that, that's what happened. Because I don't want my computer to die. Real life, right? Okay, so the platform, this is basically where you want to make sure that you have at least one platform. I feel like one, and then repurpose everywhere else if you can, if that makes sense. You know, like when you are already busy, you have a lot going on, just picking one platform for you to grow on and figure out is so much easier than you saying like, okay, I'm gonna be on TikTok, I'm gonna be a vlogger on YouTube, I'm gonna make reels on Instagram, and I'm gonna go live, and I'm gonna be on Pinterest, and I'm gonna do a blog. Like, that's a lot. So just start with one and try to put your efforts into that at least for a quarter's worth of time, so that you can really just see it grow, and just learn the platform, as well as just get to know your audience on there too. So with that, you'll have a clear understanding of what it is you want to do. So some of the things that I have for platform is, first of all, like, what is your favorite platform to hang out on, and what do you like most about the content on there? And then as a flip side, what do you believe is your ideal audience's favorite place to get their content? So if you like Instagram and they're on Instagram, great, like, let's do that. Instagram is a good example, even though I know everybody probably, we all have our feelings about Instagram, but it is a great platform because they have so many different mediums on that one platform. Like, not only can you just post a picture, you can post like multiple pictures, you know, you can also go live, you can do short form content, you can have long form content, you can do stories. Like, they offer a variety of different types of content. And a lot of other platforms do that as well, but I know Instagram's been around for, you know, quite a while. So that's just an example. But YouTube is another. Like, YouTube is my main platform. So I always love to have like my long form video, and then I'll take that bigger video and I'll chop it up into some smaller ones and repurpose it on to other platforms. I like to go live, obviously, on here. There's a community tab, so I can post things, as well as now they have shorts, so I can do more short form content. So just figuring it out and how you can really become an expert on that platform and use all of the different options they have for you. I promise you, you will not regret doing that. And then also some actions and things you can do in this specific area is you can create some content themes. I've talked about this on my channel before, but I love to have themed days. So there's specific days, like, I don't necessarily share it all the time with people that interact with my content, but I know, like, on certain days, like Mondays, I like to post motivational content on Mondays. For example, some people do like a Tuesday tip, or, you know, whatever it may be. You might have like Wednesday wins, or I'm just making stuff up. I know over on the Inspire Blueprint, I just recently started my Friday 5. And so it's basically just 5 things that are encouraging. 2 of them are always going to be something that's more like, not promotional, but just kind of like, hey, did you check out the video that I did? Or, hey, did you hear there's a sale going on over on the site? And then the other 3 are some things that I feel my audience would be encouraged by, and I share them. Whether it's like, I think last Friday I shared like a gospel song that I really am enjoying right now. I shared a reel that really encouraged me, and just things like that. So just coming up with content themes that will attract your ideal person, you know, that we talked about. And then just being consistent for at least 30 to 60 days. But if not, I would say a full quarter, so you can really see how the growth of that really looks. So definitely important. I'm going to pause here and I'm going to go get my charger. And while I'm pausing, I would love for you all to comment and let me know, how are you liking it so far? And I will literally be back in 10 seconds. All right, I'm back. Thank you if you stuck around for that little brief break. But this is life, y'all. This is how it really be. So thank you for sticking around. I have my charger now. How are you guys enjoying the training so far? Hopefully this is helpful. Definitely, if you have not, make sure you get the workbook. The link is down below. All right, cool. Okay, perfect, Jacqueline. I'm glad you're enjoying it. This is the most people I have had on. I need to start promoting my lives more. Clear. This is the most people I have had on a live in forever. Thank you so much for being on here with me. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay, so glad you guys are enjoying it. Okay, cool. So now let's continue on. So we talked all about the platform. And I like to keep it simple. Like, I can be a person, like, if you ever heard of, where people say, like, oh, she always doing too much or something. Like, I am definitely that person. Like, I identify with that. But when it comes to certain things, when you simplify it, it definitely can make it a little bit better. And so with my business, I be wanting to do the most, y'all. Like, I really do. But there's some seasons where I'm like, you know what? Let's just go back to what we know. This is my main platform is YouTube. So if I'm not able to do anything on anywhere else, I'm at least going to show up on YouTube. I have all these ideas and I want to speak on all these different topics and these messages and these problems. But you know what? Right now, I'm just going to focus on this encouraging content to help people get out of their own way. Like, this is helping you to get clear. So whenever you get distracted or whenever you're like, oh my God, I have no idea what to do, just go back to your original clarity model. I don't know what we could really call it. So that you just know what you're doing. Like, if it's ever feeling like, oh my gosh, all these people are blowing up on this platform, but you're feeling overwhelmed, go back to what you know. Just keep it simple. Doesn't mean you can't grow and expand and do other things, but to have clarity is to just know what your lane is all about and how you can stay in that lane. Like, I've learned that time and time again. And whenever I try to do the most, things just typically, they just don't go as smooth. Stuff is not flowing the way that I'm thinking it's going to go because I'm just trying to do too many things or I'm getting too many opinions, whatever it is. So this is what this training is kind of to help you to have your North Star, your lane. So whenever you're like wanting to do other stuff or you're getting distracted, life's happening, you always have something to come back to and be like, okay, this is what I originally said was my person. This was my problem. This is my platform. This is my message and different things like that. Okay, so the next part of it is the systems and organization. This, I could literally do an entire training, probably like 10,000 trainings on this because it's never ending. But basically, this is what allows the business to run smoothly. This is when you start getting into your business, you get into the groove, you'll notice like, man, I feel like I keep repeating this over and over again. Maybe I should turn this into a template. That's a great example. Like, there's sometimes people ask the same questions because as people interact with you and you grow, it'll be their first time interacting with you. So even though you'll feel like you've said something a million times, if someone just is now stumbling upon your videos, for example, you want to already kind of have that in place. So you'll notice there'll be certain things customers might keep asking. Make a template. That is considered getting organized. That's creating a system for yourself. Have a place where these things live so that you can easily get to them. Same thing, like if there's certain inconsistencies, if you're noticing that every time you go to do something, it's always a little clunky or stuff's not making sense or you find yourself getting a little frustrated. I know for me with running a product business, one of the things that always was annoying to me was that I did a lot of things made to order. And so anytime I could, I would always try to make stickers ahead of time or try to just have some things done for myself. So when I got an order, it wasn't so much of like a pressure of like, oh my gosh, I would be grateful for the order, obviously. But then I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to go and like print out this sticker book. Like I used to sell this sticker book, y'all. The sticker book was, I believe it was 9 or 10 pages long. If you've ever had an experience with using like the silhouette machines, you already know that it can be hit or miss on some days. And so I knew that that was a frustration for me and my business. And so I went from doing made to order and, doing that. And I finally was like, you know what? I think I'm going to create a system where I'm going to take a day and I'm going to prep like 5 or 10 of these sticker books. And I'm going to just have a thing running. I'll be doing other stuff. I'll be with my daughter in here. We're playing. Up, the machine stopped. Let me go put it in, oh, I'm cooking dinner. Up, the machine stopped. Let me go run a new one in there. And that was such a game changer because now I was like, oh, I got an order. Shoot, I already got the sticker book. Let's go ahead and slide. Like it just made it easier. So you won't really know some of these in the beginning, but over time you'll start to see like, okay, I could make this a little bit easier for myself. I could make this more enjoyable for myself. I'm seeing some people over on Instagram laughing about the silhouette. Yes, that silhouette. It's me and the silhouette. We still do interact, not as much as we used to, but we be having our moments. And then other things like, what are some things you just don't enjoy? Eventually you might get to a point where you can outsource things, or you can find help, or just even if you don't necessarily put it to a person, maybe a system can do it. Like there's a lot of different things that can automate, like Zapier. I use Zapier in my business and it is amazing. So there's certain times when someone takes an action, instead of me being like the manual person to go in and drop them in an email segment, so that they get these emails, or get access to a course or something like that. Zapier can kind of do those steps for me, and it really, really helps. And so I think that the more you grow, you'll start to see where you can really create the systems and organization in your business. But I think it helps with clarity, because if you are feeling stuck, or you're feeling like you're hounded with all of these different things, it's important. And even down to like when you do certain things. So on the actual workbook, I just decided to put it in here. I only touched on 10. There's way more than this, but I touched on 10, and I felt like these were some of the most important ones for any type of business. So basically, like I've dedicated my time to work on my business. Do you have dedicated time to work on your business? So just meaning like outside of just you trying to like, write a caption in the middle of doing something, or, whatever, do you have a dedicated time, whether it is daily or weekly? I would say, no less than that, to where you can dedicate an hour or a block of hours to your business so that you can actually get things done. I know being a mom, for me, it's really hard for me to try to like do certain things when my daughter is around. I'm sure when she was younger, it was even worse because, like trying to make sure she's not getting in anything. But even now, it's like she always asking for snacks. Like I love her so much, but she does not want me to be great in these streets. So definitely having a system is like, right now I'm able to go live with you all, and I don't have to worry about her like coming in here and being like, I need a snack, right? So creating just a schedule, is part of that. Do you have a way to collect your customers' emails or phone numbers to stay in touch with them outside of social media? That's definitely something you'll want to set up. Let's see, I have a way for my customers to easily purchase my product or service. So that basically just means like some type of way that there's some exchange of money happening through your website, or whether it's Etsy, a Shopify site, or if you have like a course platform. I use Podia, for example. Do you have a routine that is set up for tracking all of your business financials and bank account for your income for your business? That's definitely an important system and a way to stay organized. Is just kind of separating business from personal. I have an easy way to plan, create, and post content regularly. I think content is one of those things that it can feel very tiring. It can feel very tiring, but after you create so much, then a lot of times you can repurpose. And that's what I do a lot of times now, is I'll repurpose things. But having a plan in place for, okay, this is the day when I'm going to sit down and just figure out what I want to talk about. Okay, this is the day when I'm going to actually create the stuff. And now I have a schedule when I want to post it based off of those theme days that we talked about. I have a repeatable process for launching my products and services. I think this is important if you're going to launch something. Instead of just kind of, I talk about this all the time, instead of just putting up a photo or being like, hey y'all, come buy my thing, like have a little bit of a process that you can repeat and switch up a little bit depending on what you're launching, so that you can build up the momentum. That's important. I have a system for circling back with clients and customers after they purchase. So definitely getting testimonials and feedback from them, I think, is crucial. I have a regularly scheduled time to plan out and project what's happening in my business weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly, whatever your planning style is, but just having a regular time where you sit down and you're like, okay, this is my plan for the next 6 months, or this is my plan for the next couple of weeks. Just having that regularly scheduled time to do that. I have communication and process in place for when someone places an order with my business. So after someone places an order, what happens next? Like, they place an order, but it's like, okay, are they getting like a little message from you? Or do you follow up with them in some way? How quickly is the turnaround time when you are sending this out? Those things are important. And then also, or even if they're doing more of a digital product, like, are they going to get it right away? Do you have like a little funnel that they go into, or what happens after? That's a system. And then also I have time scheduled to step away from my business and or be present with what matters to me. So this was something that this is something that I am currently trying to work through. And that is learning to step away and give myself time to rest, because it can be very easy to get caught up in the business and just forget about everything. At least that's how I am. I've always been a very driven person when it comes to my endeavors, and sometimes I can be very be very focused, almost too much. So I wanted to just put that on there because that's important. Even if it's just putting on your calendar like no social media today or no work today for my business. Like, let me just focus on my family or focus on my well-being, right? So that is pretty much the training. What I want you to kind of do with all of this, because I know I kind of threw a lot at you in this, but is to go through this workbook, answer the questions in there for each of the areas, and then just go through it one at a time. Yes, there's a lot in here, but it doesn't mean that it's all going to be put in place. And I know a lot of you work full-time jobs and you're trying to make this happen on the side. So that's why I think that's what's the beautiful part about it. You don't have to have everything booming right in the beginning. But if you decide like, okay, you know what, I think this week, or I'm going to take the next 2 weeks to just really like get my message together, like figure out what it is that I want to talk about, kind of decide, like I have a couple ideas in my head, but let me just get the one that I want to focus on. Then maybe the following week or next 2 weeks, you're focusing on just the person. Maybe you ask around, you get some tips from people, you poll some people, or you do some market research if you want to, or just kind of ask yourself those questions on that workbook. Again, who are the people? Get the platform, learn a platform. You got to watch a couple tutorials on how to, learn how to make a reel or something like that, whatever it is. Just doing all of those different things, but it just gives you something to focus on. So even if you get home, it's been a long day, people in your ear asking questions, and you just are like, okay, I really have an hour, I want to do something for my business. This will allow you to go there and just be very clear on like, okay, where am I at in this process? What can I focus on next? And eventually you can just build on it. So that is what this is about. Let me stop my share and then I will answer some questions. All right, let's see. Okay, it's so much on here, y'all. I appreciate you guys being on here so much. I really, really do. Okay, so drop your questions we have. We have about 20 minutes or so I'll definitely answer what I can. But I really hope you enjoyed. I had so much fun making this, like so much fun. So I'm really glad that I was able to do this. Okay, let's see if there's any questions. Okay, we got Charlotte, Austin, Texas. The courage to leave that job. Yes. Milwaukee, what's up? Committed to the call. Yes, definitely. Alexandria said that. I struggle with celebrating big or small goals. I'm the same way. I actually just posted a video about this. I think it was last week. And I was just talking all about how, so I hit 1 million views on my YouTube channel, but instead of me like instantly celebrating myself and being excited, I instantly went to all the things that I hadn't done or what success looked like for someone else, instead of like patting my own self on the back and celebrating. And I've done that throughout the years in this business, and it's frustrating. And so I definitely get it, Derica. I think the biggest thing is it's just a muscle we have to work in. If you're not a person that naturally just like celebrates yourself all the time, which I feel like a lot of women are not, just from the ones that I've personally worked with, it's definitely something you have to exercise. But just remember that you even doing something outside of just like the regular what's required, you wanting to start this thing, you wanting to learn something new, you wanting to create this thing outside of you and kind of like birth it and launch it, I think that in itself is something worth celebrating. And a lot of people don't look at it that way, but the fact that you're even doing it, I know you're always on my videos and watching and everything, so like celebrate the consistency for that and showing up, even if it doesn't always look good every day. Okay, let's see. Kanitha said, do you post to your platform daily? I need to come up with a schedule that would be helpful. It depends. So I don't really do a lot of posting on the weekends. That's just my personal preference. I know a lot of people do post on the weekends. So I would first just come up with like, what are your boundaries for social media as far as that goes? And then from there, just decide like, what does consistency mean for you in posting? So for me, I like to show up 3 to 5 times a week on my platforms. And for me, that feels good. A lot of times over on, because I have a personal brand page as well on Instagram, so I'll just show up on stories. If I don't do anything else, stories is just kind of like my bare minimum, where I'll show up and be like, hey, popping in to say this is what I'm working on. I do a lot more behind the scenes over there. And then if I get a reel up, I do. If I don't, like, okay. But over on like the business page, I always like to at least post 3 times a week. So that's typically what it is. And then I'll post something and then I'll like follow up and talk a little bit more about it. So just like I did the success blueprint, I did it in a carousel, and then I turned around and I took a portion of that and I turned it into a reel that I posted on Monday. So definitely what I would do, I love to come up with a theme that I talk about. So right now I'm in my theme of clarity. So, whatever that is, you do that, kind of figure out like a couple of different pieces of content you can create, and then just kind of do your one main piece and then break up the other parts. But no, I don't post daily by any means. That would be a lot. Let's see what else happens. I'm gonna have to go back and read all of these comments more in depth. Luckily they do save, so I would be sad. Okay, let's see, diving deep into this, getting things clarified. Perfect. I'm so glad you guys are enjoying the training. Let me see if there was any questions over on Instagram really quick. I didn't want to forget about Instagram. I don't think so. Okay. Just some comments of enjoying it. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. Okay, let's see. Jade C said, love the channel and your business grew beyond the stationery business. I watched and supported the store before, but now can generally apply the topics to my goals and aspirations. Thank you for sticking around, because that was scary. It's scary to leave something that you are comfortable with or that you feel like is your thing or what you're known for. It's really scary to do that. So I'm so grateful for everyone that decided to stick with me through that transition. Oh, thank you, Vanessa. Yes, everybody hit the like button if you're enjoying this or if it's helped you in any way. Let's see. Keep coming back to her content. Oh, thank you guys so much. I'm glad you enjoy the content. I have a Cricut maker and it's hard to find help because everyone uses different machines. Definitely. So when I first started, I had a Cricut only. And then I was kind of in the same boat. Like, I decided I had wanted to make stickers. This was back in 2017. And so I ended up purchasing the Silhouette Cameo because it was like everybody named Mama was, doing it. And that was where all the tutorials were. And so I will say I definitely use my Silhouette a lot more. So if this is just even like for someone, if you're wondering like, oh, which one should I get? I would probably suggest the Silhouette. I have not used my Cricut in a while. So Cricut may have changed a lot of things. But a couple years ago when I was trying to do it, they still weren't quite at the same with like coming up with like sticker kits, and just the way that you can set it up on Silhouette is just a little bit easier. So definitely may be different now. Again, my Cricut is kind of collecting dust, which is a little sad, but let's see. Do you think you'll have coaching to purchase soon? Do you think you will have coaching to purchase certain packages? Sometimes I have some extra money and checks but have not seen it yet. Yes, so I always have coaching available. I am kind of slowing down a little bit with the one-on-one coaching and getting ready to move into this membership that's going to be launching very, very soon. So that's kind of where a lot of my efforts are going to be. But yes, I do have creative chats. So if you ever want to just get on a call with me for an hour, that is an option, as well as I do have one-on-one coaching where we could work together for like a longer period of time. And that's always available. You can set up a kickoff call and then we can get on and discuss what makes the most sense and kind of go from there. Okay, any other questions? Okay, Sandra, hold on, I don't see your question. I just see it says, quick question, a little bit off topic, and then I don't see the rest. Okay, let's see. I've been wondering when the Bun Girl Business Planner will be back in stock. I feel like the planner would be great, and it's coming, it's coming. I ran into a little bit of an issue with where I was getting it made at, and so I kind of like got in my own way and paused for a second. because they were definitely supposed to already be back in stock. But I will be notifying you all very soon. The plan is for them to be back next month. So be on the lookout for that. The nice thing is it is undated, so you can always start using it at any time. But I will definitely be sharing once they come back for you. Okay. Hey, Narissa. Okay, said, sorry for the long question. What's your suggestion for a stay-at-home mom who has several projects going on that have to get done, but you want to figure out how to focus or revamp your business? My struggle is figuring out how to get really specific with my focus. I have overarching theme of wanting to encourage women, but it's a wide net. My passion, miscarriage, postpartum, and Black women. Okay, Narissa, I know we've talked before too. It is definitely a lot, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this training, was because that's what it is. It's like there's so many different things you can focus on. I always say, if nothing else, if you know that you want to create some type of business where eventually you want to monetize the business, I would say grow the audience. That's always going to be one of my number one things, and you can do that in a lot of different ways, but just being consistent on whatever your platform is, providing value when you can, going live, just kind of like showing your face as much as you possibly can, or that you feel comfortable. And even if it's just literally like you are only able to take like 30 minutes, every few days during nap time or something like that, where you can like go live really quickly and talk about a topic. But if you're able to be consistent and say like, okay, every Wednesday at this time, I'm going to go live for 20 minutes, my 20-minute nap live, where I'm chatting a little bit about it. And specifically, since moms is one of your market, then I think that would be helpful. But I would say, as far as like just what to focus on, if you have several different projects and things, is to just prioritize as much as you can. So if you have a lot of things and there's no way to just choose one, I always like to, if you can, turn your brain off from the other things just in the moment of when you're working on it, and come up with some themes for your days. So when at one point I was kind of running two different businesses, I had the Stationary Muse and I was coaching, as well as I was also working full time from home for a business. And so what I would do is I would have like on Tuesdays, I'm trying to remember, I think it was like Tuesdays and Thursdays was Stationary Muse Day. So that was the days that I fulfilled orders. It was the days I created content for the Stationary Muse, and that was kind of what I focused on when I had free pockets of time. And then on Mondays and Wednesdays was when I did more of like the coaching stuff. So I would figure out like, okay, what am I going to talk about for next week, or let me plan out my live and different things. And it was a lot, like it definitely was a lot. And there were some weeks where some things didn't happen. And so that's also something maybe to recognize like what season you're in, and see if there's some pauses you can make in order to really like let something else flourish for a little bit and then come back to it. I don't know if that helped or not, but that's kind of what I've done in seasons where it's just like I have a lot going on, I don't really have a choice, is just to kind of set some time, for a block of time for those different projects, so that they all can get a little bit of your attention, versus you sitting down like, okay, let's work on all 50 of these things in this hour. Like, coming up with just one thing to focus on seems to be helpful for me in that time frame. Okay, let's see. Alicia, do you have any tips for getting your first client or sale? Do you recommend giving away products or services to get testimonials? My personal experience with the more service side of things, even like when I did my graphic and web design business, photography, coaching, I always did stuff for very low cost or free at the beginning, just because it's a way for you to get your feet wet. Because sometimes, the price can be the only thing standing in someone's way from working with you. And if that's going to get you that experience, if it's going to get you the testimonial, I would say go for it. Definitely, if you can, do low cost, but even if it has to be free. So an example, I did this thing when I first started my coaching business. I sent out a message. I already had an audience, but I sent out a message just saying that I was going to be starting a coaching business and wanted to have some women that I could do some market research. So it was like the first 30 minutes of the call, I interviewed them and had like 10 questions. I asked them all about like their struggles and their pain points and different things. And then the other half of the call was a just coaching session, where it was just all about what are the struggles they're having, how can I help you, what questions do you have. And so I ended up getting from that, I think it was 12 testimonials. I worked with 12 different people during that time. It was a lot, because it was like during a 2-week time frame in 2020, which was crazy. But it taught me so much because it gave me all of the language I needed for marketing my coaching services. It showed me the struggles that people were having, and it gave me testimonials. And then even some of those women ended up deciding to work with me later. So it just depends. But yes, I do recommend doing low cost or free. That's just my personal experience, and it always has seemed to work out for me. And then same with your products. You can definitely give away. One of the biggest things that I did that I will to this day will always be so thankful was when I had my subscription box. I sent a subscription box out to Lisa Mac Plans on YouTube. She's changed her name on there since then, but she shared it on her channel, and my box blew up. So that's another great thing. So if you can give away one or two to just someone that has a little bit of a following, or someone that just has a little bit of skin in the game that can kind of help you get some exposure, I think that's a great way for products as well. Okay, let's see. Do you offer gift cards I could purchase and use when available? Yes, I do have gift cards for the shop. So for the products and everything, definitely. And I think they should be on the site. I'll check after we get off, but I think I have some on the website already. It's just like a digital, e-gift card kind of thing that you get. Where can I purchase the candles again? Ooh, that's a good question. I've been trying to decide if I wanted to make them available. Would you want to see the candles come? Because I only had them available in that bundle that I did, but maybe I could bring the candles back. I'm working on the spring summer collection now, so maybe I'll bring that back. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It does smell really good. I like it myself too. Okay, the training was fire. Thank you. I'm ready to complete the workbook. Oh, I'm so glad to hear it. Okay, perfect. Yes, definitely email me, Derica. The kickoff call link should be in the bottom description of most of my videos. I don't know if it's in this description or not. I can't remember if I put it in there, but it's most of my regular videos. You can find the kickoff call link in there to set one up. Let's see. Kenitha said, I want to learn about subscription boxes. I think I want to do that with the pins. Oh, y'all, you guys need to go check out Kenitha because she has the most beautiful pins. They're so pretty. They're like very intricate, and she puts like the individual rhinestones on there, so they're handmade. They're very high quality. And it's been cool to watch her business grow. And I think you do it on other stuff too, besides just pins now too, like different types of items. Okay, y'all are making me happy about the candles. I didn't know how the candles was gonna do. So, okay, I will definitely do that, as well as the Bun Girl planner, because I've been asked about that actually a lot, and I'm like, girl, what are you doing? So both of those things will be available in March. I'm saying it here first. That was not in my plan, but that will be coming because I need to get clear, right? I need to have some clarity, what I'm doing. I'm all over the place as well, and so that's why that was why I created this, because there are certain times when I have to reel myself back in when I'm feeling super overwhelmed, and I'm just like, okay, you want to do 50,000 things, but what is the thing that we can at least be focused on right now so that we can move forward? And I'm saying me, what I can focus on, so that I can continue to move forward, because sometimes I will be so overwhelmed with the amount of ideas pouring into me that I will just not do anything. Like, I'll just be like, I'll sit down to work and I'm like, I have no idea what I should be doing right now. And so that's why this is helpful, because I always end up doing something like this, but I try to make it a little bit easier to understand for this training. Let's see, will you ever make a daily planner? That is on my list. If I could just tell you all of the things that I want to do, we would be here for days. But that is something I eventually would like to do, because I love daily planning. It's actually my favorite type of planning. So maybe someday. That would be wonderful. And if you're just getting on, we wrapped up the training, so I will be having the replay for this available. I'm going to stick around for a couple more minutes to see if anyone has any last questions. Definitely drop them in. And I'm so happy that you all were able to join me today. Let's see. Braniska said, I love the challenge page because this is my second week that I have dedicated a day to make content and a post day. I felt so much self-doubt this morning, but still posted it. Yes! And the challenge page that she's talking about, it's in the workbook. I'm not going to mention what the challenge is, but it is something to kind of push you a little bit, just to take some action immediately. So I'm really excited. I know it definitely, I was actually just talking about this over on Instagram before I got on here. it's scary putting yourself out there. Like, there was a time when I used to get ready to get on live, and the only person that would be on there was either just myself or my mom. And I would always feel silly, because I would be like, like, oh, there's people that be getting on and they be interacting with the comments, and here it is, just me, and then my mom hops on, and it's like, we go through those different things. And all I'm just basically saying is that don't let the discomfort of it stop you from moving forward. So I'm so happy that you still decided to post it, because you're gonna feel all those feelings around posting for the first time, showing your face for the first time, going live. Especially going live, for me, that was a thing. Like, it took me a couple months to really start to feel comfortable going live. But whatever it may be, it's always going to be a little bit of discomfort, but the more you do it, it'll start to just become like anything else. Like when I'm sure you first started your job, you probably was like, okay, I don't know nothing about these people, or I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing to, get this done. But now as you get more seasoned and you learn, now it's just like anything else that you do. So it's just kind of ripping the Band-Aid off and getting started. But I'm so glad you did that. And then Narissa, you said a Bun Girl planner. I do have a Bun Girl business planner that will be coming back soon. So glad you enjoyed it, Kanitha. Okay, Alicia said, last question. How do you choose your live YouTube topics without being repetitive? You always have good topics, girl. Thank you. Okay, thank you. So it's definitely like 3 different ways that I do it. So the first way is I will go back to past lives or even past sit down videos that I've done. And if I notice that the video did really well, or if I noticed there was a lot of questions that came from that, that's sometimes how I'll get it. Like if I notice like people keep asking similar questions across different videos, or just a video did well and maybe like I could expand on it a little bit more, that's one way. I also feel like some of my older videos too, sometimes my perspective changes as I grow, just as a person. And so I'll watch my old lives or my old videos and I'll be like, ooh, that was good. Like, I really like what you said there, but let's add this, or let's kind of change this because it's a little bit different now. So that's one way I'll do it, just kind of look at my old stuff. The other thing I'll do is just look at my, kind of like we talked about, the message and the person. So if there's anything specific to kind of like what I like to talk about, so if it's around my content topics, especially like if I'm not in a launch time or anything, I'll talk about one of my content pillars basically. So for example, getting out of your own way, like inspiring content. I feel like I could talk about that for days and always refresh it. And a lot of times you may not notice, there's some times where I will do the same thing I've done before. The title will be different, the points may be a little bit different, and I'll come with like a different energy, but a lot of times it's repurposed. And then the last way is if I'm launching, which this is something I'm going to be actually talking a lot about within the membership, like different types of launch ways you can do it. But right now I'm in a launch, and the launch is more themed. I love doing themed launches, and basically I have a breakdown and I'm just going to do content that makes sense to whatever the theme is for that week. So that's pretty much the different ways I come up with it, but I appreciate it. But there's a lot of, even though it doesn't seem repetitive, a lot of times things are very repurposed, because after a while, like when you create so much stuff, it does get to a point where you're like, okay, I've talked about this, I've talked about that, how can we refresh this, and different things. Let me see, someone on Instagram said, where's the workbook? The workbook is linked in the bio on the Instagram page. Once you click on that, you put in your email and your name, and then you'll get access to it right away in your inbox. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Anita, definitely watch the replay. I'm getting ready to hop off here in a minute. Going live is intimidating. It is. And I don't know why, like, I've shared before that I used to sing, and well, I still sing, but like in front of people, like audiences and stuff. And I used to do like all the talent shows. I sung at my graduation. And so I've always performed in front of people. I did drama club. But then when it was time for me to go live, even though I'm a YouTuber and I did vlogs and stuff, going live was really scary to me for some reason. And I don't know what it is. So you are not alone in that, Alicia. Like, you are not alone. Your transparency is so wonderful. You show that you struggle to, but then show us how to overcome. Thank you for sharing. You're welcome, Latrice, and thank you for being here. You have been with me for so long on this channel. I appreciate you so much. Oh, a Bun Girl daily planner in the future. Larissa, you got me over here trying to add more to my list. Yes, that probably will be something in the future at some point. I think it definitely will. I have a couple of product ideas that I'm trying to figure out which one I want to focus on first. I probably will be polling you all soon because I do polls all the time as well, to see what kind of get some feelers out there of what people would really enjoy from me. So that'll definitely be coming soon. But all right, I think we've covered just about everything. I really appreciate y'all getting on here and interacting as always. I think I saw that someone was watching from Australia too when I was talking, which is very cool. So thank you just to everyone that gets on and interacts with these lives. For those of you that did sign up for the workbook, definitely be on the lookout in your inbox. I will be kind of checking in with you, seeing how everything is just going with you getting clear, seeing if you have any questions and all of that. And I will be live again soon and doing some more fun stuff. But I really appreciate you all. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Oh, Larissa said, I'm sorry, but if I'm not going to make it myself, I'd rather your business rather than Target. Yes, I will. It'll be in the works. Something will be in the works. So stay tuned. All right. You guys have a good day. Thanks for watching. Bye.